Welcome back to FFB from the 50. I'm your host, Dan Amsler. This is episode 3 of the Fantasy Football Basics. In this episode, we're going to talk about your scoring settings. And this one is vitally important to know going into the league that you're going to play in. So if you are new to fantasy football and joining a league for the first time, make sure you pay attention. If you're an existing fantasy football player, go down to the comment section and let me know if you've ever been burned by the scoring settings and why you think it matters so much. But we're going to start with the very simple basics. And the first thing that I would say as far as scoring settings to know is it a PPR league, which stands for points per reception, a half point per reception, or a standard league, which does not reward any points for a reception. And the reason this matters is there are running backs out there. I'm going to use Rachaad White as an example. We used to have Darren Sproles. He was a PPR absolute stud, but in standard scoring was not the guy that you really wanted on your team. And the reason it makes a difference is we know that there's running backs, especially in today's NFL, that are more considered third down backs or specialty backs, receiving backs. They may not get a lot of yardage on the ground. They may not score a lot of touchdowns, but they may catch 50 to 60 extra passes per year. Well, if you're getting a point for every one of those receptions, getting 60 receptions is the same as an additional 10 touchdowns. It can really even the playing field between guys like Derrick Henry and guys like Rachaad White. One of the other important things to note when you're looking at your scoring settings is going to the quarterback position. Now, a lot of leagues will only award 4 points for a passing touchdown, while they award 6 for both a receiving and a rushing touchdown. And the reason why is it's very typical for a quarterback to have 2 to 3 passing touchdowns per game. We would take 2 to 3 touchdowns out of any running back, wide receiver, or tight end. So touchdowns typically are a QB stat. Quarterbacks throw for 40 touchdowns. We don't see guys rushing or receiving 40. So make sure you go out there and you see if it's worth 4 points or 6 points. There's quarterbacks that throw a lot more touchdowns. I'm going to use the Patrick Mahomes that can throw 50 in a season. That will really award him more points than some of the middling ones. It definitely elevates the quarterback position. Make sure you also know what your yardages are. So in most leagues, it takes 25 yards to equal 1 point in passing, while it only takes 10 to get a point for receiving or for rushing. But that's not always the case. Some leagues will also award you for first downs, third down catches. Touchdowns are typically worth 6 for those guys. That's absolutely fantastic, but make sure you know those things because they count. Some leagues actually award total touches, which is crazy if you think about a running back that's getting 20 carries per game. It's pretty rare in this day and age, but it can happen. Make sure you know if your league actually does negative points. This could be huge if you have a quarterback that throws interceptions. So some of these guys that throw 10, 12, 15 interceptions per year, or the old-fashioned Jameis Winston 30-30 year, if those are worth negative 2 points per interception, it could add up really quickly. Also, some leagues actually penalize a pick 6 as negative 8 points, negative 2 for the interception, negative 6 for the actual touchdown itself, for a total of negative 8. Some will actually do negative points for fumbles as well. Make sure you also know if your league has bonuses. Most leagues set those bonus tiers pretty high, but I am in a league that actually awards 5 extra points to quarterbacks for only hitting the 300-yard plateau, receivers for 125 yards receiving, and running backs for 100 yards rushing. Typically, like I said, those are set higher, and some are not quite 5 points. Some only award 3, but those bonus points can absolutely make the difference between winning and losing. All right, make sure you come back for episode 4, where we're going to cover free agency budgets, otherwise known as fab money, waivers, and actual just free agency. All right, make sure you go down to the comment section. Let me know what your scoring settings are, especially if you play in a league that has strange ones. If you are an experienced fantasy football player, let me know if you've been burned by any of those scoring settings in the past. All right, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and until next time, see ya.